Hello and welcome back to Racing Through Radio. I'm your host, Sam Moore, and I'm here to talk to you all about what's happening at Ransomville Speedway these past Friday nights. Seems like we're keeping up with the semi-steady pattern of race week, rain out, as reoccurring rain this week has prevented drivers and fans from getting out on the track. Which is honestly kind of a bummer because this past Friday was supposed to be the Empire Super Sprints Memorial for Ron Lux. That's going to be an event I don't think we get to just push back into next week with ease, and I think if it is, it's going to be later in the season if we have space for it and if they have time for it. Which I believe is part of the reason that we didn't cancel the races earlier in the week. I feel like most people were pretty certain this week was going to be a washout. I mean, I was expecting nonstop rain Wednesday to Friday, and then Wednesday came and the weather was fine, and then Thursday came and it wasn't too bad. I got a little hopeful that maybe we'd be able to sneak it in, but unfortunately at like Friday at noon, absolutely downpoured for like 45 minutes, and then it kept raining just enough to keep it from drying. So a little rule of thumb, if it says it's going to rain for 3 days straight, maybe don't sit there and get your hopes up that the weather person might have misread a few things. But once again, my Friday night plans were ruined as I got to sit there, blankly staring at my screen in some momentary dread attempting to figure out how to fill my raceless radio show, wondering if the sun would ever come out again, if I would ever get to hear the sound of 30 different engines running as I'm trying to talk to some guy who totally totaled his car, if I'd ever get to eat a dirty track fry again. And then I snapped out of it because now I was hungry because I was thinking about french fries and I had to get up and make my own because I couldn't just walk to the window and order them like I'm used to. Sitting around snacking, I spent some time looking through some old interviews, and not everything makes a first cut. Sometimes a whole interview gets cut. Sometimes interviews go so long that I can only use about a minute or so of a 4 or 5 minute interview. So we're going to take some time looking at interviews from weeks prior. I'm going to show you the parts of the interviews that you guys haven't seen before. I present to you Sam's Racing Through Rewind.
Ready to take your home from the pits to the winner's circle? Rendell Painting and Renovation Services has the crew that will get you there. One call does it all. 845-5544. Race fans, take a pit stop at the Thousand Islands Cruet for olive oils and vinegars that will bring the taste of victory right to your kitchen. Dress your salads, marinate your meats. Visit them online, thecruet.com.
First on my little docket of clips that I'd like to share is a little bit of a sillier one. I know I spend a lot of time talking about the wraps on cars. I'm an artist. I don't really feel like I can help it. It's one of the only parts of a race car I actually understand, so I loop back to it pretty consistently as a spot of comfort. Where I'm parked in the pits is a pretty good surveillance spot. We have a pretty good middle area where I can see most of the cars going in and out for their races. So I'm sitting in a lawn chair, drinking a sody pop and writing in my little notebook of plans while this beautiful white car with a large Raptor where the big 2 ads on the rear panel thing goes. And let me start with the fact that I love dinosaurs. Stegosaurus, raptors, troodons, chickens, you name it, I realistically probably have some sort of fun fact about it. So I'm sitting there watching this race car go by and I am falling in love with plastic on metal. I wait for him to get back to his parking spot after his race, let him get comfortable, and then I went up and talked to him, and it turned out it was Phil Vigneri from the 358 Modifieds. Your car is absolutely beautiful. What's the inspiration behind the Velociraptor?
So I own a business called Reptile Graphics, and that's my mascot. So I've been doing the big raptor for a long time now, probably 8 years, and it's always been popular.
Do you happen to actually have a favorite dinosaur?
It's got to be the raptor, right?
He was a super nice guy, had absolutely zero problem giving me an interview despite the fact his race didn't go super as planned, and I honestly kind of only wanted to talk about dinosaurs. Do you think you could outrace a raptor?
Probably not tonight, but if we get a little better, maybe in a couple weeks.
But statistically, he definitely could have outran a raptor. I mean, it's believed that raptors only could top out at about 25-35 miles an hour. Who knows, maybe I'll go back to him later in the season and see if his answer changes on that one. When I was talking to Greenlee George of the Sportsman Division about anything and everything that could come to mind, being new to the community, I don't know a whole lot of the race superstitions, but I try to understand them when I can. I'll admit it, I'm pretty superstitious. I get nervous when I break a mirror. I avoid walking under ladders as any sane person should. I mean, that one's just for safety, not for superstition. I knock on wood every time I talk about the weather because my job now depends on it being sunny. So, as I asked Greenlee about it, we got to talking about the color green.
One question I've been asking a lot of the drivers tonight, do you have any race superstitions?
The color green, it's bad luck.
Now, I went home and researched it, right? Because I didn't know anything about it. I've been told to change out of Crocs at the track because it's supposed to be bad luck. I've watched my aunt buy a new cigarette container so that she wouldn't bring green into our little trailer, but nobody could really explain to me why it was bad luck. They would just tell me it's bad luck.
Is there a reason behind that?
I have no clue, just people have been telling me no green on your car since I was like in go-karts. They were like, no green, no green. I was like, okay, no green. And then I have bad luck and I was like, oh, it's because of my name.
Luckily, Greenlee's name hasn't cast her into eternal doom. Let's keep our fingers crossed on that one.
Failed start on your home improvement project? Brendel Painting and Remodeling Services are here. Let them take you to the finish line. One call does it all. 845-5544. Need a pit stop for flavor? Stop in to the Thousand Islands Cruet for olive oils and vinegars to marinate your meats and elevate your eats. Find your checkered flag flavor online at thecruet.com.
Only because I like to talk about food and I've already brought up Speedway fries once. When I was talking to Steve Lewis Jr. of the 358 Modifieds, I asked if he had any pre-race rituals before he goes out on the track.
For the race, do you have any pre-race rituals you do here?
No pre-race rituals. Just get out of work and go to the track and, I don't know. Ransel fries. I always eat Ransel French fries, so.
Oh, I love the dirt fries here. I always feel like they're better a few laps into the race.
If I'm being honest, I mostly asked because before I interview people, I have like a whole to-do list to get myself in the right mentality. Every Friday I touch up my hair dye. If I'm not feeling confident before I go out for an interview, I give myself about 6 minutes to listen to some music, mostly Dolly Parton. While I don't feel incomplete without doing them, I do feel like I'm stepping out on a much stronger foot when I do. And when Steve Lewis said he always gets a racetrack fry, let's be real, a Ransomville Speedway fry might be 2/3 of the reason I even do this race show and go to the track. When I was younger, my family would call them dirt fries, because you can't really eat a whole lot at the track without getting a little bit of that good old Speedway dust on everything to season it. Honestly, with a little bit of vinegar and salt, the dirt ain't too bad. Or maybe I'm spending too much time around the generators and the race car engines and the gasoline's making me go crazy. The world may never know. Next Friday night will be the 15th annual Labor Night at the races. The Northeast Late Model Alliance will be on hand, and joining the late models will be the Crown Undercoating 358 Modifieds, the Sunflowers of Sanford Mini Stocks, and the Kevin's Carpet Cleaning Novice Sportsman. I do believe that if you are a regular sportsman driver, you get the week off, so either congratulations or sorry, depending on how you feel about not getting that chance to race. As always, the pits will open at 5, the grandstands will open shortly after at 6 p.m., and then the racing will get underway at 7:15. That brings us to the end of our show, and as always, I hope to see you Friday, and if I can't, I hope to see you back here Sunday at noon. If you're tuning in late, you missed any part of the episode, or maybe, who knows, you just can't get enough of re-listening to old episodes of Racing Through Radio, Monday, you can find the full episodes listed on the WLVL website.